Okay, I think we're live now. Hello everybody in the chat room and anybody else that's watching. Sorry I needed a couple extra minutes. The microphone's always an issue for me. Still trying to get the cable to work, so I'm just using my laptop's built-in mic, which isn't that good. I apologize for the audio. I'm going to get that improved at one of these days on one of the future live streams. I'll actually have a decent mic, but not yet. So it's going to sound a little bit echoey. I apologize for that. And just to get this out of the way early, for anyone that showed up yesterday, sat around for an hour and a half waiting for me to live stream, I apologize to all of you. We got kind of caught up with the issue with Sony and fixing something with Android, and got sucked into the work and lost track of time and forgot to post that I was going to reschedule it anyway, until I went on Twitter and saw the chaos on Twitter, and that kind of reminded me. So yeah, thank you to everyone that sent me messages on Twitter. You turned an hour and a half wait. You know, you saved everybody from sitting around for more than an hour and a half. But yeah, this is episode 22. If you've never been or never checked in on one of these Q&A live streams before, they're pretty simple. It's just basically I give our fan base, our fandom, a chance to ask me questions about Dark Deception or Monsters and Mortals, or I guess now we have Super Dark Deception, basically any of our game projects. So I take questions from our members, our YouTube members that are in the Glowstick Entertainment server with the VIP role, and I also take questions from Super Chats, and I'll also take questions just from people kind of randomly selected from our email. So yeah, if you want to get your question read, but you're not a member and you're not able to do a Super Chat, you can still get your question read by just emailing us at contact@Glowstick Entertainment, and we'll randomly select some questions that are pretty cool. And if your question doesn't get chosen, as always, just keep trying. It's the law of averages. Eventually you're going to get picked. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and kick this off. I always start with member questions first, and that's how I'm going to run it today. So member question number 1 is from Shadow Phoenix. Says, hi Vince, 3-part question. Firstly, did Barely Buried... Wait, 3-part question. Okay. Did Barely Buried have any scrap traps? Secondly, can you give us any minor updates on Monsters and Mortals? And finally, if you had to pick 2 Dead by Daylight characters to join the Monsters, what characters would you pick? Personally, one of my picks would be the Dredge. Well, let's go through this. This is a laundry list of questions here, so we'll start with item number 1. Did Barely Buried have any scrap traps? No, it did not. Secondly, can you give us any minor updates on Monsters and Mortals? I can give a couple updates. I'm gonna give it. Wait until we're a little deeper into the live or the Q&A live stream before I get into that, because I saw there were a couple other questions about that as well. So I might as well kind of, kill them all at once. And then your last question: if you had to pick 2 Dead by Daylight characters to join the Monsters, which characters would you pick? I assume you mean like the original characters. All my Dead by Daylight picks would be licensed characters. So I don't think we can get like Hellraiser and The Shape and Freddy Krueger into Monsters and Mortals. 1, those are very expensive licenses, and 2, it doesn't really fit with Monsters and Mortals because they are movie characters. Those are kind of like movie royalty. And we kind of went a different way. We're doing kind of the indie AAA horror game thing, where we focus entirely on horror games rather than movies. But if I had to pick one, I already kind of thought Trapper would be cool. And that's really the only one that kind of jumps out at me as a fit. So question number 2, Pro Gamer. Hey Vince, hope you and the team are doing well. So I was looking in Barely Buried Zone 3 very closely, and I noticed the lines where the tiles of the models end, but it's super hard to see, so it looks great. So I was wondering, how did you make Barely Buried Zone 3 almost perfect with the tiles? that was difficult because when you do organic models, with floors it's a little bit easier because everything's even surface. It's all the same levels, just a flat floor. You just have to texture it to look differently for whatever surface material it is, like marble or carpet or whatever. With an organic shape like a cavern, it's got a rock floor, the surface is uneven. So we had to very meticulously go in and make sure that every edge lined up perfectly for every vertex point. And that was very time consuming. So if you're not able to notice the lines, then we succeeded. We did spend a lot of time on that. It was not a trivial task because at first we did mess it up a lot, and there were a lot of gaps and noticeable lines, and we really had to do like 5 or 6 passes on those maze tiles to get them to look seamless. So thank you. I'm glad that you noticed that. It makes all that work and effort worthwhile. Question number 3 from Joy Lucky. Hey Vince, have you considered or ever thought of adding individual character progression to Monsters and Mortals to grind your favorite characters and show your dedication to your mates? Or maybe just an overall overhaul to the game's progression system? No, I think that was something we pretty much decided to avoid early on, simply because we were going for a very simple game. We wanted to create Monsters and Mortals as a very simple game that anyone could pick up and play. Kind of like Mario Kart. Mario Kart, you can unlock, new items, new rides, new parts and accessories, but you don't level up your characters, or there's not really like a points-based skill tree or progression system. Something like that is definitely more Dead by Daylight. So we felt like we were already somewhat, in some ways, borrowing similar mechanics from Dead by Daylight. Everybody is at this point, with the whole asymmetrical horror multiplayer game. So we wanted the similarities to kind of end there. And if we put in like, something like the blood point system or some kind of skill tree, yeah, it adds a lot of replay value that you can, grind out, grind out leveling up your character. But it kind of takes away being a simple game. Then it becomes like a more mature, more complex game. And then we really have to devote a lot of time to that to make it competitive with other games that have a similar progression system. So it would automatically be the gateway to making the game more and more complex, which we simply did not have the team size for when we created this. Bear in mind, this was basically made by like 2-3 people. Well, no, maybe 4, including Penn. She did help. She did do the textures on it. So, yeah, Dead by Daylight's made by hundreds of people. So, you do need a larger team size to implement something like that. It is not trivial. At this point, I think putting in like a progression system into Monsters and Mortals would almost require likely a complete rebuild of the game, which would take months. Probably 6 months at least. So I think we're just going to find... My goal with Monsters and Mortals is just to keep adding new stuff that makes it more fun. Think more like Fall Guys or something like that, where it's more about new events, new modes, new activities, things that constantly keep the game fresh rather than, hey, go grind for a bunch of points. Eventually when the game gets old, they just start giving away those points for free anyway. Question number 4. Judinator. Heyo, Vince. I have 2 questions for you. Man, I'm getting a lot of laundry lists today, but it's okay. It's our members. Do you have any plans to update the textures to 4K and Dark Deception in the next-gen console ports? I feel as if the textures would appear blurry since the next-gen consoles aim for 4K. Question number 2. If you ever have a chance to make a Silent Hill game, what sort of thing would you do? Anyways, happy late Thanksgiving, and have a good one. Okay, yeah, we actually are working on 4K for the console ports, so you won't be disappointed with that. As far as making a Silent Hill game, well, there's a lot of Silent Hill games coming now, so I don't know if that would be our focus, to work with that license again. I was really excited that we got to work with it when Monsters and Mortals. That was already a dream come true. If we were ever, asked to do a Silent Hill game, I doubt I would say no, just because that's an honor, and also, I love Silent Hill. I would try to do something very different than what's been done, but, authentic to the lore of Silent Hill. I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes off into left field, and it seems like I don't even know what Silent Hill is. But I would definitely look around at what the other games have already done and try to offer something, within the world that fans love, but a new, fresh experience for them. That would be my focus, is like, how can we add to this world rather than just recycling what's already there. So, I mean, I would probably take that approach with any popular IP if we license one. Question number 5 from Mega Main. Hi, Events. So I was wondering, would you ever consider doing a part 2 to a DLC collaboration in Monsters and Mortals, like how Dead by Daylight has done with Resident Evil? Yeah, actually, some of our existing partners we've already talked about that with, like Team Junkfish and Supermassive Games. So once, House of Ashes isn't out yet, but it will be out. And once we get to House of Ashes, if that does well with our fan base, we've already kind of discussed and opened up the potential to do some of the other games, like maybe The Quarry or the new one, The Devil in Me. If you haven't played that yet, you guys should definitely go give that a try. That's Supermassive's new game. New entry into the series, Dark Pictures Anthology. So, yeah. I don't know if we would do like another Poppy Playtime. That's entirely up to them, based on one of the other chapters, or if someday they're definitely going to do like a Poppy Playtime 2. Or hey, they have Project Playtime now. Maybe that could be the crossover between multiplayer games that we didn't get with Dead by Daylight yet. We're pretty keep our minds pretty open to everything. Question number 6 from LKZ. Will the trailer of Chapter 5 be divided into O1 and O2 like Chapter 2? Actually, it wasn't divided for Chapter 4. Sorry, not Chapter 2, Chapter 4. It wasn't divided for Chapter 4. It was actually a teaser that was just renamed. So the original teaser was just a camera fly through a couple scenes, and that was pretty much it, because that's all that was really ready at the time. We'll probably do something similar to that for Chapter 5, like some kind of small glimpse at what some of the levels look like without revealing too much before we drop like the full trailer, which will be kind of like the full thing that just, it's meant to like blow you away. So we definitely want to save some like visual surprises for that, but I'll definitely put out a teaser at some point when it's appropriate, when the timing's right. Question number 7 from Unicat and Jess. How has the Yandere Simulator fix come along? How are you... sorry, I'm stumbling my words right now. Also, are you going to get other Monsters and Mortal bugs fixed before releasing more DLCs so they can release into a more polished game? Alright, 2-part question. Let's start with the first one. How is the Yandere Simulator fix coming along? Well, the fix wasn't for Yandere Simulator. That DLC is already done. The fix is for the base game. So if you were waiting for the Monsters and Mortals release on Epic Games, that release actually basically allowed us to discover, well, it revealed a very deeply rooted critical error in the game that had to be fixed. And unfortunately, early on, nobody on our team knew how to fix it. So they tried their best, but they were not able to fix it. So we had to turn to some outside help, which we found. So it is in the process of being fixed already. It was not a small fix. This was a massive fix. So it required us to almost rebuild large parts of the game. So that's why the delay has been taking longer than expected. I don't really want to comment on it too much for the past couple months, just because that would constantly keep people hyped and going into the, are we there yet mode? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Every week. And just to let our team focus better, I'm not going to bring it up till we had significant progress. So we're looking at dropping the update for that, or the fixed version, finally, probably in early 2023. So it's still a little bit of a wait, but when the DLC go out, they're all going to go out together. So as soon as that fix is out, we're going to put it out into Epic Games, and we're going to update the Steam version as well. And then shortly after that is going to be Yandere Simulator, Poppy Playtime, House of Ashes, plus the Kori Kenshin DLC. So you're going to get 4 DLC within 4 months. So you'll be eating pretty good at that point. So that's the update on Monsters and Mortals for anyone that was wondering. And as far as the existing bugs, we would have to look more into what those are, but we've already fixed a lot of bugs. So yeah, like all things, every game has bugs, and they pop up no matter what you do as you go. So the game is never bug free 100%. We'll be always fixing bugs as the time goes by. Number 8 from Lysander. Are there going to be more Dark Deception fan game competitions? I personally really want to see a game jam where there is a set theme that devs most use. That's an interesting question. So we did do one fan game jam competition earlier, and we had a pretty good turnout for that. I know a lot of fans have seen Subreich's Pizza Time, which was the winner of that. I think right now we're really busy to do another game jam, but I would like to do one in 2023 at some point. Maybe after Chapter 5 drops and Super Dark Deception's out and we can kind of breathe a little bit. Then I would actually have the time to kind of oversee something like that and do it right. Last time was a little bit rushed and chaotic, and it was not, it was our first game jam, so it wasn't organized as well as it could have been. So this time I want to give people more time, and a theme would be really awesome. Something that can force people to be a little bit more creative with the ideas rather than just kind of recycling what's already there. So yeah, I think the only way a game jam would be worth it to me is if it sparks people to be creative. Because to me, that's the whole point of a game jam. And with our Dark Deception community, I want to motivate and inspire them to step outside their comfort box and do something really interesting that fans are not expecting. Because that's when you get stuff like Pizza Time, and you see that in the FNAF community all the time. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I want to get a little bit of that madness into the Dark Deception community, and I know they have that in them. We just gotta, set it up right to encourage them to put that out. Question number 9 from Rye Guy. Now that the demo of Super Dark Deception is out, will you publish the music tracks from it on YouTube? Eventually, yes. I probably will drop some Super Dark Deception tracks soon. We kind of held off on the music for a little bit because we were having an issue with YouTube and a music thief that was basically stealing our music and copyright claiming it to YouTube. So we kind of put a kibosh on all new music releases until we dealt with that person. We've pretty much wrapped that up at this point, so I'll probably start dropping music again fairly soon. I'm not going to promise it this week, but, reasonably soon. Question number 10 from DD West. Can you reveal the name of the mall level yet? I will reveal the name of the mall level, but not yet. It's too soon. Like I said, when I reveal the names, instantly 10 fan games pop up, all pretending to be the level. Which is fine to a point, but eventually we want people to... This kind of goes back to what I just said about the DD fan games. I want them to do something new, not just try to copy and impersonate what we're already doing. I want to motivate them to do something more creative for the Dark Deception community. So I'll probably withhold the name for a little while just for that reason alone, so that they all don't start making mannequin levels using the name. Question number 11 from Gift Card. Have you ever thought about making a leaderboard? I assume that's for Monsters and Mortals. Though I'm not sure of the implications of a leaderboard in a party game, perhaps a way to spice it up for players striving to become better. Yeah, I think implementing a leaderboard could be really cool and makes sense. That is a way to be competitive. We just have to find the best way to do that and a way to implement it and that it adds value to the game, other than just, seeing your name on a list. I feel like there's something creative we could do with that, but I need to give it some thought. But that, first we're going to focus on getting the fixed version out and getting the DLC out, and then that's when we'll finally, we still have the 2 modes that are fully designed and need to go out, so we want to get those out. Those are all big beats that we want to get out for our fans of Monsters and Mortals and to bring in new players, so we'll kind of get to those things after those. That's when we'll start looking for how we can spice it up. Let me see. All right, that's it for member questions. Now I'm going to go to Super Chats and answer some of those. So give me one moment while I pop over to that. All right, we do have some Super Chats today. Hopefully YouTube doesn't do its little jumping thing. Question number 1 from Initial Dragon, who threw in $2. Thank you, Initial Dragon. Lore question. Are dread duckies capable of flying? No, they are flightless birds. They just run around and hide. Vizian threw in 5. Hey, Mr. Vance, what plushie is behind you? Well, I've got a couple behind me. Oh yeah, we've got a few guests here that are future upcoming plushies. So you can see here is Mr. Doug Hauser. So we've got a Doug Hauser plushie. Yeah, he looks as friendly as ever. This was actually based on the Monsters and Mortals version of Doug, because you can see he's got his power on his tablet. That's his ultimate ability. And then he's collecting his little soul shard here. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like Doug. Got his judgmental stare on my shelf now. And then we have these ones, which I think I've already shown last time, is Golden Malik. It's kind of these are also Monsters and Mortals skins. And then for anyone that missed Dread Ducky, we've got our upcoming Flamingo Ducky, which I may have shown in a previous video, but for anyone who wasn't, watching that one, here it is again. So these are some of the alternate skins in Monsters and Mortals. It's not in Dark Deception. But yeah, the other ones are, the familiar ones. Reaper Nurse, Hangry, Murder Monkey. And we got Chef Monkey here. For anyone that participated in the Chef Monkey campaign, thank you all for making him a success. Did I bring out? Yeah, I did. I did bring them out. I am officially out of couch space, because I do this always on my couch. I'm out of couch space for the plushies. We officially have too many plushies to fit all on my couch. There's still like 4 or 5 of them on the shelf that I can't show right now. So these are the 2 that just completed their campaigns. Skeleton Clown Gremlin from Monsters and Mortals, and Chef Monkey from Monsters and Mortals and Dark Deception. So thank you all for making those also successful. It's really awesome to see the Dark Deception plushie collection grow from Dread Ducky. Well, he's over here. Grow from Dread Ducky to now, almost 20 plushies. That's pretty amazing. And really, that would never happen without all of you. I buy a few plushies to give away for charity drives and just for my family, but that's not enough to make the campaign a success. So you guys are the ones that keep those alive. As long as you keep buying them, we'll keep making them. Let me see. Where are we at? Alp threw in 2001. Thank you, Alp. Will there be SDD? Super Dark Deception Doug can look in 4 directions. Oh, I see. No, that's just not the style we went with. We did look at some games that had sprites that walked in 4 directions, so you see their back and you see them walk down vertically, like a front facing. And I looked at other Super NES games and like PlayStation 1 games and Sega Saturn games, everything from like the 16-bit era that had pixel art. I saw some sprites that could walk in 8 directions, so they would walk in diagonals too. And what I noticed about those is that it lost a little bit of the charm. It started to look like it was trying to be 3D. And for me, the retro 2D games will always just be very simple, like left-right, like Mario. A lot of those platformer games. And I saw plenty of modern retro 2D games that do exactly that. And there was one, and it's a Korean game. I forget the name of it, but it was beautiful art. I saw Manly Badass Hero play it, and that one impressed me enough to make me want to kind of emulate that style, where everything's just walking left and right. It keeps the look intact and makes it more visually stunning than seeing your guy just always like rotating like he's in his own little 3D realm while everything else is flat. But that's just my opinion. But I'm the one making the game, so I'm going to do it that way. If anybody wants to do a 8-direction sprite, it's very easy to jump into Unity and throw together your own 2D game and let your imagination fly. I fully support you. Hey, I would love to see a a fan Super Dark Deception game. You know, if you want to make your own version of a 2D Dark Deception, go for it. I would love it if fans do some more 2D Dark Deception fan games. Unicat Ninjas threw in 5. Thank you, Unicat. Eventually, will you please rework, rebalance Chapter 4 levels as done with Chapter 1 through 3? Chapter 4 Enhanced sounds like a great idea. It has so much more potential. I think at this point we're kind of past Enhanced and all of that because, you know, this is the final release. There are no more chapters for this first game after this. And the episodic releases is only on Steam. So we're keeping that intact for Steam. You know, we're not going to delete the chapters that are there and suddenly throw up like a different SKU or throw up another version of Dark Deception on there to replace the old chapter-based version. We're going to leave that intact. But on consoles, it's just going to be all one package. We're not going to be like Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, you know, through Chapter 5. It's just going to be Dark Deception. We may give it like a surname, like we're not going to call it Dark Deception Complete. We may call it something like Dark Deception, The Shattered Ring, or, you know, something like that. We're still working on it with our partner. But it's just all going to be one complete game. So that means we have to fix all the bugs for that final release. So it's already kind of being enhanced, if that's what you mean as far as just polishing it up. Yeah, all of those issues that are already in there are being fixed right now. And we've already fixed a lot of them, so it's just the fixes never got pushed because then players would be able to rip Chapter 5 content, which we don't want them to do. JCap17. Whoop. Oh, sorry. No, that's the wrong one. Yoshi threw in Hong Kong 10. Thank you, Yoshi. Any new female enemies besides Tammy or Elise? Yes, there is a new female enemy, and that is the level 10 enemy. So I will reveal that the level 10 enemy is female. I haven't shown the design for it yet. I'll probably tease that at some point soon, but I'm not going to reveal her name or what she looks like or give any description. I'm just going to let you know that level 10 enemy is female. So let me see. Another one from Unicat. $5. Another 5. Thank you again. Praise Monkey King for saving the clown campaign with so many plushies. I really wanted the skeleton plushie to add to my skeleton plush collection. Oh yeah, there were several people who bought a lot of them. So, I mean, even if you only bought one, that helped get us to 100% because it was only, I think, like 10 or 20 over the goal. So every purchase counted. So, like I said, thank you to everyone who bought one, whether you bought one or you bought 5 or you bought 10. You all helped immensely. Yeah, I would have been really sad if the skeleton clown gremlin didn't make it because he was the first Monsters and Mortals plushie. I guess you could count Chef Monkey as the first one since he originated in Monsters and Mortals before joining Dark Deception, but I don't know, I kind of feel like he's Dark Deception now, so Skeleton Clown Gremlin feels like the first authentic Monsters and Mortals plushie. Oh, somebody said I missed their chat. Jacko Trap, I'm sorry. You are right. Let me jump back to it. Hey Vince, how much longer? Jacko Trap threw in $20. That is very generous. Thank you for letting me know I missed that. That would be kind of a slap. Hey Vince, how much longer are we going to have to wait for a Monsters Mortals update? It's been almost a year since we got Crazy Carnival Map game is... Okay. So yeah, I don't know if you just joined, but basically I just gave a big update on Monsters and Mortals, and I explained why it's been radio silent on the update. But basically the bug, there was a major bug when we put it out on Epic, and it affected the Steam version, and it made it impossible for us to get the Epic version cross-play with Steam. So we basically had to refactor the game, which is a very serious commitment, almost a rebuild of the game to fix that. So it's still not done. It's taking time. I didn't want to constantly do updates because our fans, especially Monsters and Mortal fans, have a tendency to harass my team, including me. So I'm sorry to our Monsters and Mortals fans that don't do that, but there's enough of them in the Monsters and Mortals community that enjoy harassing our team that I kind of wanted to not give them anything to make them want to constantly check in with us. So thus the radio silence. I mean, that's how most game development teams operate anyway. They don't tend to constantly drop updates. I do like interacting with our fan base, but sometimes we need to focus. So if you missed the update previously, we're looking at early 2023 for the release of the fix for Monsters and Mortals, plus releasing the 3 DLC. That includes, 4, including Corey Kenshin's. So we've got House of Ashes, Corey Kenshin, Poppy Playtime, and of course Yandere Simulator. Let me see, what else? Gotta go back to where we were before, 1 second. Okay, My Vision threw in 10 euros. Thank you, My Vision. Hi Vince, hope you're okay. Got a question for you. Why the cut ROM's music don't feature... Oh, 1 second, I gotta translate a little bit. Why the cut music doesn't feature one for the level Torment Therapy. Okay, so why does the cut music video, I guess he's referring to the vault, the cut music, why doesn't it have any cut music from the level Torment Therapy? I don't know if you're in the chat, My Vision, is that what you're asking? I want to make sure I'm not misinterpreting your question or butchering it. Basically, the reason there's no cut music from Torment Therapy is that everything got used. We didn't really have any cut music from Torment Therapy. The music that was cut was so similar to the final music that it was kind of pointless to post it because it was only slightly different. Whereas some of the other levels had very noticeably different music that had gone off in a completely different direction, which is why it was cut. Autumn Azure threw in 2. Thank you, Autumn. Can the Puppet Master move around on legs or fly? Well, I'm not going to reveal anything about Puppet Master yet, but I will give you one update. His official name is Puppet King. So we kind of referred to him as the Puppet Master as a temporary working name while we're in development, but the final name is Puppet King. And I won't reveal at this point what his AI or abilities are, for obvious reasons. But yeah, I think you'll like him. He's very different from all the previous enemies. I try to do that with every enemy. They all bring something new to the table, and he definitely does. Let me find my place again. Unicat Ninjas again. Wow, 3 contributions. Thank you. Were there other ideas on Goldwatcher's multiplayer design, such as incorporating his red light, green light mechanics as a self-buffing ultimate? I believe we had a couple other ideas. If you're speaking purely of ultimate abilities, yeah, we had a couple other ideas for him. They were all bad. I don't remember exactly what they were. I'd have to go back into like really old design documents, but I think we wound up settling. There were some that were actually really good, but they were just impossible to put into a multiplayer game, both for performance and because they were incredibly unbalanced and OP as hell, so we could not use them. Lemon Peppermint threw in 5. Thank you, Lemon. Does Malik actually see Agatha his child, or is she more like a pet servant to him? Why would a demon need to have a kid? Well, I mean, if you... I don't want to... Well, I think everything... I don't know if everything has been revealed with that yet. There may be some stuff with their relationship. But I mean, if you analyze Dark Deception, does he ever call Agatha his daughter? Or is it Agatha that constantly refers to him as her daddy? Or as a paternal figure? So, I mean, I've seen a lot of theories, and I don't want to shoot any of them down. If I was just an outsider looking at Dark Deception, making my own opinion, I would guess that maybe, I mean, what if Agatha is just a tool to Malik? What if her affection for Malik is not reciprocated? So, I mean, my point with that is that they could both have their own kind of agenda or their own interpretation of what that relationship is. It may not be the same for both of them. Fish threw in 5. Thank you, Fish. No actual question, but I do want to say that today's my birthday. Well, hope you're doing well, Vince. Well, happy birthday. I hope it's a good one for you. And I feel bad you're giving me money on your birthday, but we appreciate the support. Yeah, I hope it's an amazing day for you. And I don't know if you're into cake, but I hope you get some. Autumn Azure threw in 2. Thank you. Another contribution. That unknown red monster, what's his significance? Red monster. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. The only thing red I've shown is the mannequins. So the only other monster I can think of is the one posted on Twitter. And that one is significant, but I can't say what it is. 2,000 more won from Alp. Thank you for your multiple contributions. How did Matron get out of Zone 2 with her big body? Maybe she has her own private entrance. It is a mystery about how she kind of navigates the facility and gets around, considering her size. And if you notice in her room, the doorways are very small. But you know, the rules of the real world don't really apply in Malik's realm, so you know, she doesn't necessarily have to go through a doorway to get out. Oh, YouTube. You did your little jump. Okay. Sorry, I gotta find where I was. It did that sudden scroll. Okay, I'm back. District D threw in 50. Wow, thank you, District D. Will there be new content in previous chapters after the release of Chapter 5? Will the price of the full edition be higher? So, yes, there will be new content. Oh, sorry, previous chapters. No, I guess that's still a yes. But it's for the console versions. So, for the console versions, we are actually... And I'm pretty sure I can say this now because I'm pretty sure it will happen. If it doesn't happen, I will have to tell you all far in advance so that you don't think I'm lying about this. But we are looking at doing console exclusive content. So that means if you buy the PS5 version, you're going to get something in the game that the Switch and Xbox version don't get. Same for each of the platforms. The best comparison I can give you is like Soul Calibur series. They always have like a special character, but it's locked to each console. So like Nintendo would get like Link, and Sony would get somebody from the Tekken series, something like that. So that will be playable in the previous chapters, and because of that, there's some extra content in the console versions. The console version's price tends to be higher. We don't have a final price for the console release yet, and of course it depends if you buy digital or physical, but I believe the base digital price will be $24.99, and that's going to include all chapters plus the new content. I'm not sure if we'll do any DLCs after that. We'd have to have something pretty, interesting enough to make that effort. It would have to really add some value to the game. I'm not really sure what that could be at this point, but we'll probably test some ideas with the fans online at some point after the release to see what interests them or interests all of you. Okay. Unicat Ninjas threw in another 5. What kind of cutscenes, characters, animations have you done so far for Chapter 5? Well, I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you we've done a lot. This is probably... Well, Chapter 5 is absolutely the most cutscene heavy chapter out of the entire game, hands down. If you like the ballroom battle cutscene from Chapter 4, this tops that, several times over. Probably have a few cutscenes like that in Chapter 5. So yeah, Chapter 5 is absolutely the biggest, best chapter in Dark Deception. I'm not just saying that to promote it. We've put the most work into Chapter 5 easily. Okay, let me go down here. Explosive Omega threw in 2. Thank you, Explosive Omega. Any news on the epic build of Monsters and Mortals being fixed? As I kind of already said, but it's okay. I'm going to answer all of these questions, even if they're kind of repeated. The epic build is being fixed. It does need more time, so it's probably not going to see the light of day until somewhere in early 2023. Probably January or early February. So I apologize that you have to wait, but this is a very necessary fix or the game dies. It's kind of at that point. You always get those kids being dramatic, being like, oh no, they go to the concurrent player count and try to use that to tell people, there's only like 1 or 5 players playing at a time. But the daily count for the game is actually very good, and that's thankfully because we have a strong Monsters and Mortals community, so it's not dead, even though there's not updates. But if the game is broken and unplayable, it literally is dead. So we have to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's why we're fixing it. And the fix revolves around the matchmaking system. So the matchmaking system is, or was, seriously affected by a critical bug to where it could no longer create matches. It had crippled itself with the lobby count. So that's what we're fixing. Will characters... Oh, sorry. Argo4 threw in £5. Thank you, Argo. Will characters in Monsters and Mortals have specific voice lines for each other? For example, Beer saying, "Curse you, demon," when Malik kills her. This would be very cool. I agree. And I've seen things like that, of course, in like Mortal Kombat. You constantly have like different voice lines for encounters with various characters. So, yeah, I think something like that would be really unique and cool. I think with some of the future characters we could do that. It's really hard to go back and do that with all the Dark Deception characters, because basically we did not like record new lines with Monsters and Mortals for the original characters from Dark Deception. We're basically reusing the lines from Dark Deception, because getting the voice actors in from Dark Deception is a very difficult process. They have a lot of them are very popular, like Carolyn Seymour and Tara Strong. Their schedules are booked for like a year, so it's really hard to get them in to record. There's a lot of money involved. It's got a union involved. It's a complex process. So not having to re-record with them is very, very helpful to the game. But like future characters with new voice actors, and especially for like DLC, we could do something like that with, or maybe if the game suddenly, I don't know, if we put it out on consoles and mobile and it blows up to a higher level of success and we have, a lot of money, then we can definitely, throw out that money and get them in sooner to record new lines or something really cool like that. Unicat Ninja S threw in another 2. Was Beers betraying us the original idea? Actually, the original idea is still intact. I haven't changed it, even since 2015. So I can't tell you what the original idea is, or I'll just say I cannot confirm or deny that Beers betraying us was the original idea. But the original idea is still alive and well, and will be part of the ending for Chapter 5 and the complete game in general. It has been tweaked a little bit, though. Rooney Nico threw in £5. Thank you, Rooney Nico. Is there a reason there is no physical version for Xbox? Yeah, that was actually a decision on our partner's part. Special Reserve Games, they're a pretty awesome company that does physical versions of games for release in retail and on, e-commerce sites, their site. So based on their immense experience, and bear in mind they just did recently the physical release for Cult of the Lamb, which was a massive success. I think it made like $100 million in 1 month. It's like insane how well that game did. And they did the physical for that. And basically their experience with many, many indie games is that Xbox owners do not buy physical. So it might sell, and by do not buy, I don't mean like nobody buys physical. There will be like 1,000 people that go out and buy physical for Xbox, but that's not enough to cover the costs of production, manufacturing, all the licensing, distribution to the stores. It costs a lot to make a physical release. So there has to be enough fans kind of pre-ordering and buying it to break even and not lose money. So for Xbox, apparently they've lost money several times to the point where they don't want to do Xbox releases anymore. Switch and PlayStation systems sell like crazy. So apparently everybody wants their physical copy on either Switch or PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. So that's why we're doing those two first. If for some reason we get just a massive demand for Xbox, we could consider it, but that's really their decision. I don't know how they would test that. Maybe they would do a pre-order, and if fans from that own Xbox Series X are willing to pre-order the game and there's enough of you, then they would be like, okay, we'll do an Xbox version. But right off the bat, they're only willing to take the risk for Switch and PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. And really, I kind of agree with them based on their data. So it is the safe way to go right away. Sorry to Xbox owners, but you guys do still get the digital version, so it's not like you're not getting to play Dark Deception. It will still be on. It'll be on the Xbox market. You can buy it. Automazur threw in another 2. Will Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 delay Chapter 5 of Dark Deception? I think you're fishing for a release date. I'm not exactly sure when Chapter 3 releases. Is that December? No, I mean, if you're trying to find out if it's coming in 2022 or 2023, it's absolutely 2023. So if it's in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 is in December this year, then yeah, we're not worried about that. Same with Choo Choo Charles. I think they're both dropping, or maybe it's Project Playtime I'm thinking of. But in general, I will look to see if there's any big indie games, like, Bendy and the Dark Revival just dropped. But if for some reason that had come out in 2023, I would have looked at when it's releasing and tried to schedule a bit later than that. Just because, each indie game needs its time to shine. YouTubers, if they get torn between two games, they can't really give each one, a proper playthrough and kind of give that fan base what they've been waiting for. So I know a lot of you are excited to play Dark Deception, or not play it, but watch other people play it on YouTube. So we want to make sure that we don't tear like Super Horror Bro and 8-Bit Ryan, these guys, like between two games at once. We want to let them breathe and focus on one game. So we try to give enough cushion that each game kind of gets its moment. Let me see. To Bob45 threw in 2. What do you think of the new... sorry. It's like 2 a.m. I'm slurring my words now. What do you think of the new Mario movie trailer? I loved it. So I thought it looked awesome. I was a little worried at first about... I'm old enough to remember the first Mario Brothers movie and seeing that as a kid and being very confused. I grew to love it over time, but it never was Mario to me. And then this new Super Mario movie, or the new Mario trailer, that felt absolutely like Mario. I know some of you are kind of bent out of shape about Chris Pratt playing it. I can say I don't know if his voice is going to be amazing in the film, but I can safely bet his voice is not going to ruin the movie. And I know I've been with the Mario voice actor since Mario 64. I love him in the games, but I feel his voice would be grating over whatever the runtime of that movie is, 2 hours or something. If they had put him in, I feel like he could have done a good job. But I'm not angry that Chris Pratt is playing Mario. And I showed that to my son, and he loved it. So he loves Sonic, and he loves Mario. So he's kind of like my measuring stick about, I have my own opinion just to see what he thinks. So like, can it make my kid happy? Then it makes me happy. So yeah, I love Sonic, and I love the new Mario movie. So I think finally those two are getting their due. It's been a long time. Rooney Nico threw in another 5. Thank you. £5. In my playthrough of Super Dark Deception demo, I collected a reveal and it lasted the entire level. Is that a bug? No, it's not. So in Super Dark Deception demo, again, it's a demo. It's not a final game. We left a lot of stuff incomplete and not finalized on purpose because we want to improve it for the final game. So the reveal shard, if you get it, at least for me, if it didn't do this for you, then it is a bug. It lasts, there's no time limit. It will last the entire level if you don't die. If you die, it's gone. But if you stay alive, then you always have it. James Smith, does Hangry... Oh, he threw in €2. Thank you. Oh, now this is an important question. Does Hangry fart louder than Lucky? I would say yes. If robots fart, Hangry's would definitely be louder given his diet of purely human ribs and barbecue sauce. I think that's a pretty volatile combination. Autumn Azor threw in another 2. Thank you, Autumn, for your multiple contributions. If my character is similar to yours, permission. I do not know how to interpret that. Sorry. Says, if my character is similar to yours, do I have permission? I don't know if you're referring to a fan game or which character, but thank you for your contribution. I don't know how to answer that one. If you shoot me a message in the chat, if you're in there, I see you in there. Okay, yeah, explain that one to me real quick and I'll go back to it after I answer a couple more. Which character are you referring to? Sea Tiger, no. Unicat Ninjas threw another 10. Wow, thank you. That's like 4 or 5. Do you play test outside of the editor? Because many bugs do not appear in the editor, and I think many bugs could be avoided if you perform that kind of play testing with at least 5 people. The editor. Yeah, I mean, we play test in the editor and we play test exported builds. I'm just more curious about how you're play testing the Monsters and Mortals build inside of the editor. I assume you mean Unreal Engine, since that's what it's built in. Unless, I mean, because even if you rip the game files, that's not the project file. At least not the editor project file. So yeah, the problem is a lot of teams test only in the editor, and most bugs appear in the export. So we kind of learned that lesson in Dark Deception Chapter 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if any of you remember the Dark Deception Chapter 3 launch. It was completely borked. Chapter 4 had that problem too, but for a different reason. But Chapter 3 was the point we were only testing in the editor because we didn't know better. Again, first game. So we kind of learned our lesson from that, and we test everything now. Exported builds, editor. Yeah, relentlessly. But, with all games, there will always be bugs. I think fans have this unrealistic expectation that games can be shipped bug-free. And that is just not possible. With the complexity, a lot of bugs are actually baked into the engine. So there will always be bugs. I mean, AAA games with 400 to 800 people working on it, hundreds of millions of dollars poured into them, the best talent on the market, and their game still ships broken. I mean, look at Cyberpunk, look at Call of Duty games, even multiplayer games designed to be online ship with bugs that break their multiplayer features. From billion-dollar companies. It's unavoidable. There's always going to be bugs. So for for fans and gamers that get angry that there's bugs, that's just, at this point, you got to check your expectations. That's just not realistic. What you should get mad about are game-breaking bugs. A game shipping with minor bugs is expected. The team will fix those minor bugs over time, and you just hope that the fix for the minor bugs doesn't create new minor bugs. Because, sometimes when you fix a bug, it creates a new bug. But you should be mad about game-breaking bugs, because they had time to find those and get them resolved. At the very least, the game should be playable. Vizian Raymond threw in another 5. Thank you again. Hey, Mr. Vince. Hopefully you're doing good this day. How's Chapter 5 going for Dark Deception? Chapter 5 is going great. I love working on it. The only problem is it's got so much cool stuff, and I always have this internal battle with myself not to show it to the Dark Deception community, because I always want to say, like, oh, look how cool this is. And you're like, no. You got to save some surprises for the release. And that's painful. So I kind of admire that Bendy team with Bendy and the Dark Revival was able to keep their mouth shut for 4 years. You have no idea how hard that is. Especially when the fans are getting angry and screaming at you for not showing them anything, which seems to be the way these days. You might feel pressured to start showing off some cool stuff to quiet them down. But I think for Chapter 5, I'm going the Bendy and the Dark Revival route and trying to show as little as I can, because I want the final release, to blow everyone away and really surprise them. So, I'm not going to go complete radio silence, but I do want to show a couple little teasers for Chapter 5. But I'm going to try not to show too much. But it's really cool. I think it's the best chapter. And I hope you guys agree with me when it goes out. We'll see. Alp threw in another 2001. Thank you again. Do Joy Gang symbols abused, butchered, abandoned animals? Oh, I think you mean, do the Joy Gang represent abused, butchered, or abandoned animals? No, they did not represent like animal abuse or anything like that. They yeah. I was like, the Joy Gang, I'm trying to remember, they were more a reflection of like some of Doug's flaws, but it was kind of like a false innocence with them because of the whole theme park and mascots. Mascots are friendly, and Joy Gang are the opposite of that. So they pretend to be something they're not, and underneath they're terrible. So that really does apply to Doug, and that's kind of what they were intended as. And they have a violence to them, obviously. Jacko Trap. Jacko Trap threw in another 5. Thank you. I think he probably threw this in before I went back, because his message is, you missed my first super chat. But he threw in another 5 to say that, so thank you for your extra contribution. I appreciate it. The first one was already pretty big. Unicat Ninjas threw in another 5. Will Monsters and Mortals lobbies be fixed? Currently, the game doesn't prioritize 5-6 lobbies and just creates new 1 out of 6 lobbies a lot of the time, asking for Argo. Okay, so the lobbies, the way it sorts, if it creates a new one, it's probably due to your region. It could be due to your region or your ping, one of the two. But yeah, we are revamping the lobbying system for matchmaking. Let's see. Darkbeat threw in 5. Do you plan to make a DLC for Monsters and Mortals by using the scrapped characters or levels of Dark Deception? Scrapped characters, no. So, as far as DLC goes, or Dark Deception content in Monsters and Mortals, we still have to kind of update with the levels for like Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, some of them. So we will add those in. I think after we get the licensed DLC out, then our focus will kind of turn back to updating the base game with the Dark Deception level content from Dark Deception Chapter 4 and 5. But as far as like scrapped characters and levels, no, we're probably not, because we already have too many levels to get in. Let's see, Summer Al-Ghamdi threw in 25. Thank you, Summer. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Hey Vince, I'm a fan from Saudi. I want to know why is Matron's physique from Torment Therapy different from the rest of the Reaper nurses? Is it lore related? Well, that was more a reflection of their hatred for men. So usually a matron is pretty much like the boss in a hospital of the nurses. So we wanted to make her, since her hatred of men is so strong, like it fed her and she grew to like a large size, and maybe at one point she was a Reaper nurse and she was just kind of twisted by it over, the centuries of time that she's there, or however long she was there, and it created that monstrosity. Or maybe her hatred was just the strongest. I had several ideas about that, about Matron and why she is the way she is. I may go into that more with like our book series. It's a good place to kind of fill in some of those blanks. I never want to over-explain characters too much, because I do like leaving a little bit of room for fans to have their own interpretations. Whereas if I kind of close everything off, then they don't really have that opportunity, which for me kind of takes away a little bit of the fun. I know that because I've been a fan of different IP and franchises where they did that to me, and it made me lose interest in the franchise, because I was like, well, I thought it should be this, and you're saying it's this, and that's kind of lame. So I want to give as much information on the characters as is needed, and allow a little bit of room for you guys to have your own thoughts and ideas about what their lore is. Autumn Azure threw in another 2. Which monster would you use as a bodyguard? Well, that's an interesting question, coming right on the heels of the matron question, because she'd be a pretty good bodyguard. As long as you're in a highway or somewhere that has, enough room for her to move around. I would probably go with Joykill, just because, if you want a bodyguard, you want to really meet one. And I don't think there's a meaner character than Joykill, like all three of them combined. Although Malik would be, he'd be a runner-up as well. He'd definitely be in the mix. Tabub 45 threw in another 2. Thank you. Do you have a favorite song and or movie? Oh man, I have many favorite songs. It kind of depends where I am and what I'm doing, what I listen to. If I'm at the gym, I listen to different things than I do when I'm working. When I'm working on the game, I like to listen to game music, soundtracks from games, and soundtracks from movies. Right now I'm listening to a lot of God of War from Ragnarok. I really love the God of War music, so I listen to stuff like that. Pretty much all types of games. I'll listen to anything from first-person shooters all the way down to Capcom stuff like Phoenix Wright and Street Fighter. So, I love game music. There's a lot of great music for that. And as far as movies go, man, there's too many. I've got a favorite movie for every genre. Jacko Trap, the Interdimensional Traveler, threw in another 5. The 2 DLCs I want the most to happen in Monsters and Mortals is Spooky Jumpscare Mansion and Zardy's Maze. Well, those would both be worthy candidates. I think they're both fun horror games. And I know the creator of Zardy's Maze. I've talked to him plenty. So, yeah, I don't think they would be out of place. First, we got to get done the ones that we actually have right now. Unicat Ninjas threw in another 5. Incoming critiques and the next chats I'll send. Disclaimer, I do not intend to be toxic whatsoever when I say these. You say that like you're going to be toxic. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. But thank you for the other 5. You've been on a roll. I think that I'm losing track. I think that's like 6 or 7. So thank you. Thank you. Put down your parents' credit card. Jacko Traff, the interdimensional traveler, threw in another 2. Do the mannequins finally have an actual name now? Actually, yeah, they do. I can tell their name since I already gave Puppet King's name. The mannequin's name, and again, that was a temporary placeholder name while the development was pretty early. Their final name is Red Stalkers. So the red mannequins that you've seen previously are the Red Stalkers, and the boss is the Puppet King. So do with that what you will. Pro Gamer threw in another £2. Oh, sorry. I jumped over somebody because YouTube did another jump and I didn't notice it. Wow, I jumped over like 20 people. Oh, 30. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, that was a big jump. Never mind. Okay, I'm back. Pro Gamer 2, will you hire playtesters for DD Chapter 5? Oh, thank you for the £2. We've always had playtesters. So yeah, that is kind of a normal part of game development is playtesting. We playtest everything internally and externally with various people. We don't do public betas usually, so we're not like some game studios where they open it up to the public to beta test. That's usually multiplayer, not for single player. Unicat Ingest threw another 10. Let me pre-read this to see if she threw something toxic at me. Nope. Okay. Whatever camp asked you to get rid of old Monsters and Mortals lighting is non-existent compared to the camp from mostly supportive fans in favor of the old one. Please, with Switch Cheese, consider it. Old Monsters and Mortals lighting. Not sure what you're referring to with that. Unless you're talking about... Oh, okay. You're referring to the original lighting before we did the enhanced update to kind of match Dark Deception. So like Deadly Decadence used to be a lot more saturated blue lighting, whereas now it's a little bit more desaturated to match Dark Deceptions. I think my experience so far with Dark Deception and Monsters and Mortals is that anything I throw away or it gets cut, there's a camp that begs me to put it back. But I can't. When we make changes, they are an improvement. We can't go back to the version that wasn't as good simply because some people like it. Even if they convince themselves it's better, I know better. I've worked in the industry for over a decade. I'm like, this is not better. But I'm glad you liked it. That means the old work had value too. So I've had numerous people beg me to put in the washed out fog from Mascot Mayhem, the super saturated red lighting from Mascot Mayhem's Zone 3 that used to be in there. I'm glad that it had people that liked it while it was alive before I killed it and put in something different. I don't see that as a bad thing, but I can't change back. Tabub45 threw in another 2. Thank you, Tabub. Does GE have plans to make an ARG? Probably not. I'm just curious, what did you have in mind with that? Is there something like Inscription that kind of caught your attention to that, or something else? I'm just curious what inspired you to ask the question. I actually don't know too many ARG games. Autumn Azure threw in 2. Thank you very much. Favorite minion of Malik in Chapter 5? He does have... I wouldn't say he has a favorite, but... Well... Yeah, that's a you'll see question. Sorry about that. But it is a little bit of a spoiler if I reveal anything about Malik in Chapter 5. But I appreciate the extra contribution. Blood Violet through and 2. Thank you, Blood. Cameras in mall level. Are there cameras in the mall level like Joy Joy Gang level? No. So the mall level has its own unique trap, or hazard, if you will, for the mall level. Yoshi threw in another Hong Kong 25. Thank you again. Hi, it's me again. In previous Q&A, you mentioned the monster of the 10th portal is male. So there will be one female and one male as main enemies. No, the 10th portal enemy is female. So if I said it was male before, and I don't remember if I did, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I said it was male, it was probably a kind of way just to get out of a question. It was probably, or maybe it was just a placeholder answer until, obviously we have something more concrete. But probably, knowing myself, it was probably just a decoy answer. But this time it's real. This time it's female. Let's see. Woo Twice Tease threw in 15. Thank you, Woo. A question about Super Dark Deception. Will the game release chapter by chapter just like Dark Deception before it, or will it release complete with that Dark Deception Chapter 5? That's a good question. So, no, it will not be episodic. So Dark Deception, or Super Dark Deception, is going to be a complete game. That's why we put out the demo. We wanted people to be able to try it out now to see if they liked it or not, because we're going to put it all out as a complete game. So the plan that we're currently devising is to put Super Dark Deception out either at the same time as Dark Deception or shortly after it, like within a month or even a couple weeks maybe, like very, very close release dates, almost at the same time, but maybe not quite. That remains to be seen, but it will be releasing around the same time, so it's going to be just like a big Dark Deception month, since Super Dark Deception, as you know, is in Chapter 5 as well, although it is a more limited version of Super Dark Deception. Okay, Unicat Ingest threw another 5. Are Mama Bear and Trigger Teddies still supposed to kill you when stunned? If you're referring to Dark Deception, then yes, all enemies will kill you eventually when you are stunned. Dread Duckies kind of dance around a little bit first to give you some time to recover, but yeah, all enemies will kill you when you're stunned. Automazura threw in another 2. How did you trademark and copyright your characters? Well, we're a US-based company, so we filed with the US Trademark Office. So that is how Dark Deception is trademarked and copyrighted in general. So if you're asking that question because you want to copyright and trademark some of your own characters, or maybe your own game that you're working on, you have 2 options for that, just to give some advice to you all. You can either go through a third party, maybe something like LegalZoom, which is online, and file the trademark that way. Or if you're a little bit more savvy and you can go to the US government website for the trademark office and go through their instructions, you can file your own trademark application. There is a cost. It is, well, significant. It's a few $100s if you're in the US. Could be more. And generally it takes months to complete, so there is a process to it. So there you go. If you want to copyright and trademark your characters, now you know how to do it. Unicat Ingest threw in another 2. Can Joy Joy Gang please come back in Dark Deception 2? They are OG. Well, I don't know if they'll be back in Dark Deception's sequel. I can't say that right now, but I can promise you they will be back in Chapter 5. So I hope that, kind of smooths things over for the moment. Pro Gamer threw in €5. Thank you, Pro Gamer. Are you still considering dropping a teaser screenshot of the mall this year? Well, I will say yes to dropping a teaser screenshot. As far as being this year, I don't know. I can't say yes to that. I'll just leave it as a maybe. Maybe, maybe not. It kind of depends if we have something ready that I want to show, and also the timing of everything. We may feel it's better to show that later, maybe in early 2023. So yeah, it's a maybe. Lemon Peppermint threw in another 2. Thank you. Can I hug Doug or Tammy and take them to therapy? Maybe you can hug Tammy. Doug can't hug himself, and if he did, you wouldn't see it because, it's off camera. UBF13 threw in 5. Thank you, UBF. There's a rumor going around that Chapter 5 comes out in 2022, which I think will come out in 2023. Can you squash this rumor? Yes, I can squash that rumor. Dark Deception, Chapter 5, and the console versions, basically the entire release, will happen in 2023. As to when in 2023, I already know, but I'm not ready to say it yet. Because I want to let things finalize and solidify a bit more on our release schedule before I go announcing that to all of you. Simply because things change, and fans are not very forgiving when things change. So in case something changes and I have to move it back 2 weeks or 1 month, I don't have a bunch of crazy people from various countries sending me death threats because they have to wait 2 weeks longer for a game. That has happened for Chapter 4. So I realize some people don't have a filter that tells them, hey, you shouldn't threaten people's lives. I don't really take any of those seriously anyway. If they want to get on a plane and come fly out here and try to kill me, please, by all means, do your best. But, yeah, it's a game. Get over it. Delays happen. Usually if there's a delay, it's for the benefit of the game. It means they're fixing something or improving something that you would complain about if it went out. Shadow X threw in another 2. How many endings does Dark Deception Chapter 5 have? Well, I don't know if I should give that answer now. I will say it has multiple endings. I can't tell you how many it has because some people may be able to put things together and guess what the endings are based on the information from Chapter 4 and 3. But I will say it has more than 2. We'll just leave it at that. Multiple. Unicat Ninjas threw in 5. When you finish... What is it a bug? When you finish BB Zone 1 and go into the basement, you can still hear the feet patter. Pete defeat. Defeat patter pattern. Oh yeah. That is a bug. If you keep hearing their feet running, it just means the audio didn't turn off for that actor, and it keeps going. If you played the Super Dark Deception demo, it does that sometimes for Doug when he goes into the portal in the main menu as well. Like you'll keep hearing Doug running. So we're fixing that because it annoyed me as well, and I was like, just turn that off. But it may still be there. I haven't really run into it in Dark Deception too much, but I ran into that in Super Dark Deception. So yeah, we're aware. Sun the Semp threw in 2. Will you do a mall teaser with a hidden mannequin? Well, 1, thank you for the contribution of $2. I appreciate it. And as far as a mall teaser, yes. But as to when, I can't tell you. I don't know yet. Hidden mannequin? Do you want me to hide the mannequin? I can put it like behind some stairs or the escalator or something. Or, hide it behind a tree somewhere in the mall. I thought you'd want to see it, so I'll put it somewhere up front where you can kind of get a better glimpse of it. I'm kidding, though. Yeah, you'll get to see something soon, don't worry. Daigo Doragon threw... What? Never mind, sorry, wrong one. Argo 4 threw in £5. Thank you. Will Ayano have an aura or animation change of some sort so players can tell if she's in snap mode? Yeah, she will. So she will have like a visual change, so you'll know when she's using her ultimate. It's very obvious. Automazura threw in $2. Thank you again. What is the hardest part of making a Dark Deception level? What is the easiest part? Well, the hardest part of making a Dark Deception level is creating all of the 3D assets. I mean, that's simply the most time-consuming part of that process is the modeling, of course. The easiest part for me, and not easiest because it's the least amount of work, but because it's the most fun, is the lighting. It's actually a ton of work, but for me, it feels easy because I enjoy it. Jeremiah Delaney threw in 5, thank you. I bought both the used twos figures, and I remember the shipping date is sometime in November, and November is coming to close. Any thought on this? Actually, I have no thought on as far as the shipping timeline. U2's controls that. They don't tell me anything either. I actually was wondering how they were going to handle that because it's kind of a rolling purchase. It's not like Makeship where, 21 days and then it's done and they cut it off. U2's kind of keeps going until we reach certain sales figures, and then even then you have the option to keep going or end it and declare it sold out. So I think they're kind of doing the shipping that way as well, like they're rolling it. So whoever ordered first will go out at this month, and maybe people who ordered like in the second month will go out this month. I really can't speak for them. I don't know. I'm guessing right now, just like you probably are. But if you want to check, and if U2's hasn't sent you a tracking number yet, you can always contact U2's customer service and just ask for an update on the Dark Deception figures, and I'm sure they will give you some information. They would have to. But thank you for buying both U2's figures. They're pretty awesome. I already have mine here because they're the samples. But I did order some extra ones too that I'm going to kind of give out to family and friends. So I'm still waiting just like you are. But I'm really glad that those things exist. They're cool. U2's does a really good job on their figures. Unicat Ingest threw in 5. At the beginning of every live stream, your expression looks like a disappointed teacher ready to yell at us. Oh yeah, I love that. So, for some reason, I never get used to it, is that when I hit go live, it kind of sends a recording of a few moments prior to me pushing go live that I wasn't expecting to be live, and I usually have either like a serious face because I'm like sitting there troubleshooting my mic and it's making me angry why my cable keeps giving me issues, and or I'm just like some weird expression. I don't know. Those are my two modes prior to hitting go live. And then we followed it up 2 questions in a row. Okay, $2 for this one, so $7 total. Thank you very much. It says, do you ever cry because life, sad human hours? Not yet. I mean, I'm making games. I'm happy. I only cry when there's delays or things don't go right. Yes, it's very sad. But thank you for cheering me up with those donations. I appreciate it. Alp threw in another 2,000. Thank you, Alp, for your multiple contributions. How are Gold Watchers chase mechanics in Super Dark Deception? So for the most part, the behavior is a little bit different, as I'm sure you noticed with the murder monkeys. Their behavior is the same. They still know where you are. They still run after you. But they are a little bit more intelligent in Super Dark Deception. So they will actively try to cut you off a lot more. So you really have to pay attention to the sound and keep track of which way they were chasing you from and where the potential cutoff points are that one of them might splinter off and, cut you off. So I would say with the Gold Watchers, it's a little bit similar. So their mechanics are exactly the same as Dark Deception. They are still red light, green light. But they're a lot better at it in Super Dark Deception. I think a lot of people played Super Dark Deception. Their expectation, because it's cute, was that it will be like an easy, kind of cozy game. And I just had to make it hell. I'm sorry. I made it hard. So there will be an easy mode, so don't worry. But, there should always be a little bit of a challenge. It's fun. And I saw a lot of people S-ranking the Super Dark Deception demo before even I finally got an S rank. So you all were S ranking it before me. I could only get an A up to that point. So it seemed like a lot of people are not having a problem with it, with the challenge level. But for the people that do have a challenge problem, there will be an easy mode, don't worry. And probably every enemy is going to be a bit challenging in their own way. But yeah, the mechanics will be identical to Super Dark Deception. To Dark Deception. The only change will be that we improve it. Because it works it's a little bit different in 2D than in 3D. Alex Smallwood threw in 7 Canadian. Thank you. Will the Puppet Master have a voice and personality? Also, will the other Chapter 5 nightmares have bosses? Yes, so at this point, all levels have bosses. Chapter 4 also kind of introduced mini bosses, or mid-level bosses. So that trend will continue with Chapter 5. And as far as the Voice Master having I said Voice Master. God, it's like 2:30 and my coffee's worn off. This is what happens. I'm like slowly melting on camera. Will the Puppet Master have a voice and personality? Yes, he will. So, I won't tell you what his personality is yet, but I am going to do a voice reveal for him. As soon as I receive all the final sound files, I'll probably throw something up on YouTube so you can all be introduced to him and hear what he sounds like. It's interesting. And another 7 from Alex Smallwood, 2 contributions. Have you managed to check out Bendy in the Dark Revival? It's an extreme step up from the original in all the best ways. I haven't played it. I did see one Super Horror Bro video. I believe it was the first one, just to kind of get a glimpse of, because I think people were telling me that it was an improvement, as you are. So I wanted to see first the visual quality, just to see how much that improved over the original Bendy. Because I own Bendy, so I was playing it on kind of a game series for a little bit till I got till Chapter 3, and then I just kind of stopped it and never went back to it for some reason, just time. So I wanted to see how it compared to that. And it does look, I mean, after 4 years, it's not a surprise to see it looks way better. There are better engines, a lot of time to really polish it. So I think it looks fantastic. As far as like the gameplay being an improvement over the original, I have to play that to kind of gauge that for myself. So I remember some of the flaws of the original game, but at least enough for a comparison. But yeah, I'm going to wait because I saw it's only on Steam. So when they release it on console, I might play it on PS5 and then I'll kind of form an opinion. But yeah, I think it does look better, so I probably will have to agree with you at that point. Sharkfan 2, £5. Thank you, Sharkfan. Is the mall level very trap heavy like Torment Therapy, or not so much? Sorry if this was answered already, I just joined. Well, 1, thank you for joining us, joining the membership, and 2, trap heavy. I wouldn't say it's as trap heavy as Torment Therapy. For the mall level, the traps are not really the focus. So there will be traps, but it's not going to be trap heavy. Let's see. Vizian Raymond threw in, oh, YouTube did its jump again, sorry. 1 second. See how far it took me this time. Oh, not too bad. Okay, Vizian Raymond threw in another 5. You know I love my Trigger Teddy plush, but it keeps growling at me, and it bit me. I'm not going to get infected, right? Well, if you read our disclaimer, we did warn you that there was the potential for being bitten and having, you know, disturbing growling noises at night. I am not legally liable for that. You waived everything when you bought the thing. And just as I have mine... Where did I stick him? He's here. I got my Trigger Teddy. I try to keep him at least 6 feet away from me at all times. I don't trust him. Pro Gamer threw in another 2. Thank you. What is the hardest level in Chapter 5 so far? Probably Malik's level. Yeah. I would say Malik's level so far. Shadow X threw in 2. Thank you, Shadow. How's the progress on the Dark Deception novel? Well, the Dark Deception novellas are both done, so we have two. They are fully finished, and now we're just going through the publishing process and getting some art made for them, because we want to include some visuals as well with the book, just to make it more interesting. So we're kind of in the last 15%. So all the writing is done. Now we're just getting, like the cover design, the book illustrations, the publishing, that final step. So those will all probably be ready in early 2023. I'm not sure when we're going to launch those, maybe prior to Chapter 5, or we might drop them around the same time just to make it a big, Dark Deception event. I'll probably let you all know once I have made a more final decision on that. Pyro Shark through and 2. Strawberry Agatha plushie win. Nightmare Agatha. Eventually, I think we're going to do a couple more Monsters and Mortals plushies. Skeleton Clown Gremlin was the first one. It was a successful campaign, but it did come in pretty low. So we need the Monsters and Mortals plushies to kind of prove themselves a little bit better before we can fully jump in and make a plushie for every skin. Because originally we were planning to do a big Monsters and Mortals lineup, 12 of them at least. But since the first one just sold decently and just barely met its goal, we're going to do a couple more, like I showed. The Flamingo Ducky and Golden Malik. And we have Doug Hauser. But at this point, Doug Hauser could be Super Dark Deception also. Or Dark Deception or Monsters and Mortals. So I would just say Flamingo Ducky and Golden Malik. We'll see how those two do. And then if they do well, then we can do other Monsters and Mortals skins like Strawberry Agatha. Unicat Ninja S through and 5. And I cannot read this. Ooh ha ha ooh ha. Lol. Boogalala. Look at me, I'm Scott. Well, you are on. What are they giving you over there? Tee-hee lols. Yes, you had to say that. No, I only read 50% of that. I'm sorry. But thank you for your contribution. And you followed it up with another one. Another 5 right after that. Put down my parents' credit card. It's my card, lol. I work. Okay. Well, thank you for working. But, yeah. Shark Fan through and 5. Thank you, Shark Fan. Idea for hard mode: the doors in strangers' sewers can randomly shut and squash the player underneath them. What do you think? Yeah, that would be gruesome. Squash the player underneath the door. But no, we didn't want the doors to be hazards. The doors are already a hazard because they make you wait so long. We wanted the doors to annoy you, not to kill you. And I think that worked very well. I think a lot of players wish the door would kill them because it opens so slowly. Autumn Azor threw in 2. Another 2. How many mannequins would it take to beat Mama Bear? Mama Bear is pretty intense. I think it would take a lot of mannequins. The mannequins aren't really a strong nightmare. They are, or a strong enemy. I mean, they're kind of like the clowns, where, I mean, they are very lethal with their spikes, but their true ability is their swarming ability. They overwhelm you with numbers. And their ability, which I will not reveal yet. But, Mama Bear can take a lot of damage. Well, come on, YouTube. Unicat, you're back. Okay, you threw another 2. Mascot Mayhem lighting, not Monsters and Mortals. I don't know how to interpret that. Mascot Mayhem lighting, not Monsters and Mortals. So you are talking about Dark Deception. So you're you're part of that camp that likes the original white, washed out, foggy Mascot Mayhem level. Nope, that's dead. It's dead forever. If somebody wants to, I think somebody already brought it back in a fan game. That's fine. If you want to relive the alpha version of Mascot Mayhem, be my guest. Somebody I mean, they're already ripping the levels anyway, so I mean, just take Mascot Mayhem, throw in your version of that lighting, and then let Lucky murder you in that version forever. Just play through that and share it with that cam. Pro Gamer threw in another €2. Thank you, Pro. Will Malik appear in the mall level? Well, you'll see. You'll see when you play the mall level. Automazur threw in another 2. Thank you. How do you assemble a team? How do you assemble a team for game making? Well, you said assemble a team helpers for game making. I don't know if you mean the actual development team or if you're talking about like testers again. Well, how do you assemble a team? You need a lot of money. That's the first step. Gotta have money. Not many people are willing to work for free. So you need to pay your people, and you need to be able to attract talent. So you need a good idea that they actually want to work on. And, it's very competitive. You're not the only person trying to hire people. Other people or other companies are trying to hire them too. So your game and your offer has to be better than what the other companies are hiring and the other teams. Or, in our case, start making a game with your family or friends. They're more willing to help you, and it's not about the money. So we were lucky that our core team already was very talented. I didn't have to go out and find talent to build our game. I'm already an artist myself. I've already been in the game industry for a long time. My wife, Pin, is the same. So we already had that talent on our team from the get-go. But if you're somebody that just has like an idea and you want to build a team to bring your game to life, there's really only a few ways to do that. It's 1, you have money, you hire a team. 2, you have money, you hire team members and build your own team. And when I said hire a team, I mean there's a lot of like outsourced studios that already have a team built, and you can pay them to make your game for you. It costs a lot. Like thousands, hundreds of thousands of US dollars. So yeah, it's going to cost a lot. Or you can try to hire your own team. Then you have to find the talent and convince them to work for you. I think that's really it. Third option, you learn how to do everything yourself. So go teach yourself programming, work on those art skills, learn design, learn UI, UX, learn, do all your audio. Learn how to do music or buy music from a sound library, and then be a one-man band and put it all together yourself. I think the guy making Choo Choo Charles is like that, so it's not impossible. You can do it. But it's not easy either. CXXD reacts through in 10. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I can't wait for the 5th chapter to come out. I also like how in the soundtrack the chorus sounds like it's saying run for your life. It really shows how fast the mannequins are going to be. Actually, you are correct. It does say run for your life, and Daniel Dombrowski did that intentionally as part of our take on Carol of the Bells. So I'm glad you caught that. That's a pretty fun track. I can't wait for people to actually be able to hear it while literally playing the game. It'll be a lot more immersive than just listening to it on YouTube. But yeah, mannequins are going to be a pain. I'll just put it that way. Unicat threw in another 5. Thank you, Unicat. Are Trigger Teddies and Mama Bear supposed to kill you when they are stunned? Wait, I think that was like a duplicate question, because that one was there earlier. Okay, well, I hope it didn't charge you twice. For some reason, it went through twice. But thank you again for all of your contributions today. Shark Fan, £5. Thank you very much for your multiple contributions. Why have the Ayano's Lovesick Labyrinth OSTs been removed from the channel? Simply because we are not currently working on that game. That's one of our shelved games, so we didn't want the music to be there reminding everyone that it's shelved. So we wanted our channel to only be music of games that are actually either actively in development or released. So that was an attempt to clean up our YouTube channel a bit and put things on it that are actually relevant to our games. So when Ayano's Lovesick Labyrinth, if it ever releases, if that game completes, then we will kind of, put those OSTs back out. Same for the other shelved games like Pharmacalypse and They Grow. Same situation, all shelved. So until they're done and actually out, we're not going to be featuring their music on our channel. Blood Violet threw in another 2. Thank you again. Is Mascot Mayhem destroyed? Well, the castle interior blew up, but the outside is pretty intact. And remember, it's a nightmare realm in hell, so nothing is permanently destroyed. The rules of physics in the real world do not apply there. ShadowX Acno threw in another 5. Thank you, ShadowX. Are you planning on updating the Dark Deception Steam page when Chapter 5 drops? As far as... I assume you mean like a release update, then yes. I think there may be some information in the description that also needs to be updated. But yeah, and in general, we will do kind of a finalizing pass on the Dark Deception, all Dark Deception store pages so that they're consistent. I think the Steam page probably has some old stuff on it. Oh, YouTube, you did it again. Okay, Alp threw another 2001. Thank you again. Is Puppet King taller than Mama Bear? No, he's not. Let's see. Jacko Trap threw in another 5. Let's let this stream finally beat the record of the please don't. The longest Q&A, which was 2 hours and 14 minutes. Oh, geez. I just looked at the time. Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours now. Good God. I don't remember what the longest is, but yeah, I think 2 hours and 14 minutes. And judging by the amount of super chats, it may beat that, which I hope it doesn't because it's 3 a.m. here. Unicat and Jess threw in 10. Thank you. On a more serious note, apologize to my dog for saying you don't want salami. She's sad, and if you don't, a beaver will come to turn you into a furry. Hut May at 12:43 a.m. Morning, yo. Well, it's 3 a.m. here. And saying you don't want salami. I don't want salami. I'm sorry if your dog's sad. She's gonna have to live with that. And if a beaver's coming to turn me into a furry, hey, whatever happens, happens. Unicat and Jess threw in another 10. Did I ever say why I love Dark Deception? Because Dark Deception and TGOC was the final push for me to study digital art animation as one of my majors. Was a lifesaver for many reasons. Thank you guys very much. Well, thank you. That is actually really cool. I'm glad that both Dark Deception and TGOC played a role in guiding you towards something you love. I mean, working sucks, so if you can work on something you love, that will make the next 20, 30 years of your life pretty bearable. So I hope you're having a good time with your art animation curriculum and, do awesome, and maybe someday when I'm retired, you'll be the one making the games and working in one of the big studios on some awesome new title that I'm playing from my house. Do a good job. Lemon Peppermint threw in 5. Did Doug's mom ever beat him? Or was it just mental emotional abuse? I'm wondering because of how big his trauma would be. Poor baby, he needs a hug. Yeah, I mean, if you read the e-note or some of the hidden notes inside of Barely Buried, Doug's childhood was more emotionally abusive than physically. There was physical abuse in his childhood that I didn't really elaborate on too much because I didn't want to, get too dark with it and push the rating higher. I simply elaborated more on the emotional abuse because to me that's the abuse that scars deeper. If you get, I grew up in the time when kids could be like spanked. So that was pretty common back when I was a kid. I think, physical abuse when you're a child, I mean, unless I'm not going to speak for like severe physical abuse on children, but like the one that was accepted as normal, when it's over, it's over. But emotional abuse and mental abuse sticks with you for years. So for me, that felt like something that would affect Doug far more than if his mom, smacked him with a stick or something, or spanked him with a spoon. The emotional abuse is the one that formed his personality, or contributed to forming it, Yeah. Unicat and Jess threw in 5. Again. Oh no. Let me see. I gotta translate Unicat and Jess for the rest of you. Oh no to the community, not the toxic ones, haters, ew, boo, yuck. Y'all saved my life, awesome. Creative people in this community, keep it up. Fam, woo. I can't read it with the energy you have, Unicat, so please accept my flatlined interpretation of it. It's 3 a.m. here. But basically, yeah, our Dark Deception community is awesome. Keep it awesome, everyone. I enjoy seeing everything you all create. Unicat and Jess, another 2. Community can test for you. So there you go. If you need a tester, Unicat's volunteering. If you're doing a fan game. Oh, come on, YouTube. Okay. Shark Fan 2 threw in another £5. Wow, thank you, Shark Fan. Why is the Murder Monkey U2's missing the wind-up key on its back? That's, I think that was an oversight on U2's part, but by the time they noticed it, or we noticed it, thanks to the fans, it was already a little bit too late to kind of change that in production. The mold has already been made, but I think it's easy to kind of nitpick that, but I feel the figure looks pretty awesome even without it. I mean, I would love it if they had got it right and had the wind-up key on its back, but I still love that figure. So I wouldn't call it like 100% perfect Murder Monkey vinyl figure, but it's 95% perfect. 90% maybe. I gotta give the key a little bit of weight because it is part of the design. And, at some point we may have a better, like a really high quality Murder Monkey made by, what's that? There's like a really awesome Hong Kong company and a really awesome Japan company that do these really detailed figures. I would love for them to do like a highly detailed Murder Monkey, but for now with U2's, that's pretty awesome. They did a lot of detail on it. My Vision threw in €5. Why not make a changing animation when losing a life, like a knife cutting the life count in for the Murder Monkey? Simply because it didn't seem necessary to push or add in extra things. We wanted to keep it simple and make it intuitive. So what we have there is very simple and it reads well. People know they've lost a life. So yeah, I mean, we could give it more style points, but there's also beauty in simplicity. Jacko Trap threw in another 5. Please, Vince, don't stop. Wait for super chat so the record can get beaten. Let's aim for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Let's aim for 2 hours flat. All right, we got 2 minutes left. I'm going to speed read the rest of these super chats. I may just add them all up together and be like, okay, oh wow, okay. Oh, I'm not saying anything. Shadow X threw in 5. My previous chat for the Steam page, I meant as in the profile picture, including the new enemies for Chapter 5. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, as far as the banner art, like the capsule art for Steam, we're not going to change that for the Chapter 1. I will put it up for Chapter 5 on the Chapter 5 page. But maybe I'll change the art for Dark Deception Complete to something a little bit cooler. So that one I might change. Decom Studio threw in £2. Thank you, Decom. We need a Glowstick Vince plushie now. Actually, we did do a Glowstick, like the Glowstick team. So we do have a plushie for Pen and Glowstick Vince and Nixon. So if those two Monsters and Mortals plushies, Golden Malik and Flamingo Ducky, if they do well, and by do well, this is Makeship's terms for do well, they sell more than 400 units each. That used to be the minimum. They lowered it to 200 because a lot of people were having trouble getting to 400. So if those two can move at least 400 units each, we will do the other Monsters and Mortals plushies, including Glowstick Vince, Nixon, and Pin Pin. So if you love those characters, like Glowstick Vince, if you like my character and you want to have one for your collection, awesome. If you hate me and you hate my character and you want to like use it as a voodoo doll or something, hey, that's another use for it. It's awesome. It's all good. Sniper Sensei, or Sensei 97, threw in $10. Thank you, Sniper. Hello, I want to ask and say this fact. The first time I saw the mannequin on a Dark Deception 5, Chapter 5 wallpaper, I thought it was a light blooming on a hanging mannequin. What's your thought on designing a character? So, what I've told people before when I design a character is pretty much I go into like there's a design phase where I test out hundreds of bad ideas to find elements that I like. So I will take like one part of a thumbnail, and we usually do these as rough thumbnails. They're basically silhouettes, where I explore interesting silhouettes for the character, and at that point I may have a description of what the character is, or I may not. Sometimes those rough silhouettes inform what ultimately becomes the character, based on what we like. So we will kind of pick and choose and sew things and mix things together. And when I say we, I show my designs to the rest of the team, like Penn and Nixon, and get their feedback. I like to bounce ideas, because you generate your best ideas when you bounce them off other people. If you only listen to yourself, then you can become a little bit biased and not very objective about what looks good and what's not as interesting. So, on top of that, we will also look around at the market and the games that have already come before us and see kind of what they did, because we generally want to avoid doing what people have already done. So we don't want to put out something that's already been seen before, or that looks too much like another character that's already out there. So we want them to feel and be very unique. So, I mean, the whole goal of your character is to make it memorable, and if it just looks like everything else, it can't be memorable. So for me, that's very important, that I design a character that brings something new, or brings something fresh to the game that they can't really find in any other game. So yeah, that's all part of the process of designing a character. So I try to avoid creating anything that looks generic. To me, that's the worst kind of character you can make, and you see that a lot. And sometimes they do that on purpose so you can project yourself into that character. So when you see like horror games, like I guess The Evil Within wasn't that bad, but like Gears of War, you'll get that grunt jar head soldier guy that's just a shaved head guy. Looks like, you know, 1,000 other guys from other games. It's just nothing stands out. He could easily be in any other game. That's kind of what I'm trying to avoid, is designing that kind of character. Let's see. Regosness Jones threw in £5. Thank you. Will E make her appearance in Chapter 5, and is she under Malik's control? Well, I can't really reveal anything about E. I will say that the E nodes continue and that there is a conclusion to E. But I can't say anything as to what that conclusion is, or what role E will play, or if she plays any role. So, you'll see. Sorry. Yeah, let's keep it going. Two more dollars from Jacko Trap as he tries to keep me up till 5 a.m. And he says, let's keep it going, people. Unicat Ninjas threw in another 10. Lol, what Vince? Wheeze? Vince dies. Breaks everything. Ooh, died again. A Chewy and Parpar, my cats. Da. You. Riska Jur. I literally can't read some of this. Uhoff dies for the final time. Apparently I'm dead from you all keeping me up so long. Dark Deception Chapter 5 is now suspended indefinitely. I'm sorry. Terrible Tony threw in 5. Can you reveal the name for the 9th portal? I cannot. I will later, but not now. As I said earlier, so I'm guessing you kind of sent that in after, after that previous question where they asked that. Okay. Shark Fan 2 threw in another £5. Thank you, Shark Fan. For Dark Deception's hard mode, will the penalty for losing lives be brought back? Oh, maybe some of you don't follow me on Twitter. I did mention... Wait, did I put that on Twitter? No, I think I was going to, and then I only told it to Nixon. Let's just put it this way. I think I've devised a very painful and brutal hard mode. Yes. So... there will be a lot of penalties and no mercy. Like, you will hate me when you see what I've done with hard mode. But that's good. I mean, if you want to do hard mode, you want the challenge. This is the most extreme challenge I could imagine. It will definitely give any hard mode in any Dark Souls game a run for the money. So, stay tuned. I will release more details about that fairly soon. But I think at this point I've only told Nixon about it. Isaac Smith threw in 5. Thank you, Isaac. Will Malik be the ultimate evil in the whole Dark Deception series that we have to deal with? Well, I will say that you do have to deal with Malik. That's all I can tell you at this point. There's a whole level dedicated to him, so you will have to deal with Malik. I can't say anything else other than that. And you threw in another 5, so 10 total. Thank you. And you have a second question. Will there be multiple types of mannequins in Chapter 5? Yes. There will be several types of mannequins in Chapter 5. More than 2. Let's see. Jacko Trap threw in another 2. Please don't stop, Vince. Please beat the record. I don't want to beat the record. Oh, God, 7 more minutes. See, Yoshi threw in Hong Kong 10. Can we know the name of the white mannequins? They're just called white mannequins. They don't have a name. Sorry. And that's it. Yes, that's the end of the super chats. I'm moving on to the email questions. And I don't know if I'll still be awake to come back for any other further super chats. We'll see. So, since we're done with the super chats, let's jump over back to the email questions. And I think there's... Oh yeah, okay. We've got 10 this time. So, from Nariskas, you promised in the future to add bots. Oh, did I promise something? Add bots for a single educational game. Educational? Is it possible to add them in a private match as a placeholder if there are a few players? Single I think this is a translation. Probably Google Translate. From one of our foreign fans in a different country. So I'm pretty confident this is related to Monsters and Mortals, and he's asking if there's going to be a practice mode. Or no, adding bots to fill in slots for private matches. At this time, no. That's something we could explore later, but I mean private match, as long as you have over 3 players, you can start the match. You don't have to have the full 6. So that doesn't really apply to private match unless you want 6 and you just want 3 AI bots running around as just to increase the challenge a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I don't see why not. Of course, like everything, that takes time. And it has a cost, so we will have to push that off until we take care of the higher priority items first. But I don't see why not. Question number 2 from Skyplayer. Hey Vince, could you talk a bit how the negotiation for a license works? The process, how much it costs on average for indie and AAA, that kind of stuff. Thanks. Oh, that's actually an interesting question. So, yeah, I can give a little bit. I can't go into details about my existing partners just because of, non-disclosure agreements. I would get sued. But as far as licensing in general, typically the negotiation starts once you've, however, contacted each other and come to an agreement that you want to license the content and they are willing to license you the content. From there, it would just be a matter of getting your design approved with them. Yeah, they get to sign off on everything from like the level design to the characters to the advertising, especially advertising. So every banner, every screenshot, every picture you put out there has to be approved by them first. Now, for some IP, really popular IP like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, stuff like that, AAA stuff, there's usually a licensing fee, and those are not small, and they vary between companies. They can be anywhere from, I don't know, like $20,000 all the way up to like $1 million. So it really, it's kind of arbitrary because it's up to that company and how much they want to ask for their license, how much they think it's worth. So I've heard stuff like Disney IP, like Marvel, can cost anywhere from like $150,000 to license or more. So it really depends. And then, of course, they get a royalty as well. So whatever your game makes, they take a cut of it. Your licensed content. So yeah, that's the little bit of info I can give you about licensing. It's pretty boring, but I mean, it's also a lot of fun to get to work with other IP. So it's just kind of the cost of doing business, I guess. It's a necessary evil you have to go through. But it is very painful, and most negotiations or licensing process can take anywhere from 7 months to a year to complete. So it is not something that's done casually or in a short amount of time. Question number 3 from James A. If we beat a level in hard mode and fulfill all S rank requirements, will the final rank be upgraded to something like an SS rank? Or will it still be classified as a standard S rank? No, actually, when we do the hard mode, there will be we do have a reward for completing hard mode, but I think we could do possibly a special rank for completing levels in hard mode. I feel like that's deserved. I don't know if it's going to be SS rank, because that sounds a little bit dubious if you know history. Maybe it could be like H rank or something like that. I don't know. We'll look at what sounds special that we could put in there that's cooler than S rank. But yeah, I feel like that deserves... If you can get through what I have in mind for hard mode, you definitely deserve a better rank. But it will still count in the game as like a... as getting like an S rank. So it will still unlock the extra story content. Kyler W, number 4. Why isn't there a Doug Hauser plushie? Is that how much... Is that because of how much of an a-hole he is that he doesn't get his own plushie? Well, I mean, we've got Doug here now, so I mean, Doug Hauser's coming. He's still an a-hole. He gets his own plushie. You can, yeah. There you go. I heard you before you even asked the question. We're way ahead of you. Let's see. Question number 5 from Joshua D. What's the hardest level in Chapter 5? Well, I mean, I'm playing the levels in kind of an incomplete state, so I would say Malik's level at this point, but, once everything's done and polished, my opinion could change. Dylan R. Dylan R, number 6. Been in super chat mode for so long, I'm starting to read everything as a super chat. Vince, so when specifically could Dark Deception get on consoles, and also when could Super Dark Deception be out? Well, I kind of said that earlier, but since this is an email question, I'm going to say it again, just in case anybody just joined or came in late. Super Dark Deception and Dark Deception Chapter 5 are both going to be 2023 releases. As far as like a specific date, I don't have a specific date nailed down yet. I have a month I know it's going to release in, but I'm not going to say that yet because, a 2-week delay could push it into a different month. So, in the interest of avoiding all the toxic fans having something to work with, I'm just going to keep that mum until, the game's pretty much ready to release. Let's see. Question 7 from Emoji X. Does level 9 have only one green piece, or are there multiple? And are there 2 boss fights in the level like in the previous ones? So Mama Bear's level is the only one that had the multiple ring pieces. None of the Chapter 5 levels will have that mechanic in it. That was very unique to Mama Bear and that point of the Chapter 4 story. And as far as 2 boss fights, yeah, I said that earlier, but all the Dark Deception levels in Chapter 5 have a mid-level and final boss in the level. That's kind of like the progression of Dark Deception is, just having a boss to eventually having mid-level boss, and it will continue with that. Question number 8 from Christoph. Since you managed to get House of Ashes as DLC for Monsters Immortals, and House of Ashes was published by Bandai Namco, and they also published Little Nightmares, do you think you can also get Little Nightmares as a DLC for Monsters Immortals? I maybe eventually. I actually have spoken with Bandai Namco about Little Nightmares, and the time I spoke with them, the timing possibly wasn't right. That doesn't mean it will always be that way. It's kind of like a not right now. So at some point, it may be possible. It's just right now that window is not open. Kaylin S. With Bendy in the Dark Revival out, question number 9. With Bendy in the Dark Revival out, is there the possibility of a Bendy DLC still being possible? Yeah, I mean, the Bendy team was very busy for a long time. If I ever did a Bendy DLC for Monsters Immortals 1, Meatley would have to be okay with that and be interested, which he was earlier. But obviously they were so busy that just wasn't the right time. And 2, probably Meatley would have to be involved since I believe he does all of the textures for... I could be wrong, but I believe he does all of those hand-drawn textures for the Bendy series, so I'd probably want him to help out a bit since I don't want to try to copy that. I feel like it's better it comes from, the original artist. So yeah, I would say it's still a possibility, but again, it's up to them. That's their call. It's their license. But I haven't seen anything that says no. So, first we need to get out Poppy Playtime and Yandere Simulator and House of Ashes. We have a commitment to those partners first. But after, those 3 are out, and everyone's had their fill of those, then we can start to look at other franchises like Little Nightmares and Bendy, and some other cool ones are coming out. Maybe Choo Choo Charles. I don't know how we would make that work, but I can find a way. Maybe there's some other indie ones that are pretty cool that could work, and there's other AAA ones that we're talking to. So yeah, we've got a lot still coming for Monsters Immortals, but we got to finish what we already started. Let's see. Question number 10 from Jay Leak. Will you fix the bug Chapter 4 achievements once Chapter 5 releases? Yeah, that kind of ties back into a previous question, so I'll say yes, we're working on all the bugs. So we're not going to release it with the existing bugs. A lot of the Chapter 4 bugs, you think they're still there, but they're fixed. Like the nurse and a bunch of the stuff that happened in Torment Therapy. And some of the Barely Buried bugs and Mascot Mayhem. We've already been fixing those for months. It's just we can't push them live to the public. So it's going to be in the final release. So bear with us. And that is all of the email questions. So I'm going to check back with Super Chats and see if we have any more. And then I will end this now record-breaking longest Q&A ever. And we do have a couple more, so I'll go ahead and go through those. Another one from SharkFan2 for £10. Thank you, SharkFan. Does the Tammy panic track at the end of Mascot Mayhem have a name? Not really, because it's kind of a very short track. We didn't really give it. We didn't really include it with the soundtrack, because if we looped that, it would literally just be. It's more of like an ambient sound effect than a music track. Decom Studio threw in £3. Thank you. Is the Puppet Master plotting against Malik? Or the Puppet King? Well, I can't reveal anything about the story, but that's one possibility, I guess. You could say there's many possibilities for Puppet King. I cannot confirm or deny anything. Gift card threw in 2. Another $3. You should add me to the game. Which game? I assume you mean Monsters and Mortals. Well, you're already in the game. You're playing as the characters. No, for legal reasons, I can't add any of our awesome fan base into the game. But there is an awesome mod community if you want to add yourself into the game. I've already seen plenty of our frequent players of Monsters and Mortals have created characters for themselves and put themselves into the game with their own mods. So I think that's pretty awesome. That's like an easy way to add yourself without having to go through me and all the legal tape. So I'm not sure who was the programmer or the team behind that, but you might want to talk to them. Unicat Ninjas threw in 5. Thank you, Unicat. You have committed a memeable offense for the 9 million trillion zillionth time. Dies, see you on the cosmos. Everything I do is memeable, apparently. Especially on Q&As. I get all these crazy memes of my face sent to me, like, right after a Q&A, and I'm like, it's 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Come on. Cut me a break. But no, there is no mercy on the internet. Go for it. Shosho Dupers threw in 5. Hey Vince, can Dinosaur Horror join Monsters and Mortals, i.e. Oakwood? Big fan and love your franchise. Shosho, thank you. I'm not familiar with Dinosaur Horror, so I don't know what you're referencing. Is that an indie game? Because I did see a couple like Dino Crisis looking indie games that were in development, but they kind of disappeared. So I don't know if that's one of the ones you're referring to. I mean, I'll check it out if it's cool and it's popular. I'll give it consideration. Lemon Peppermint threw another 2. Thank you, Lemon. Runs away to draw my Kid Doug design cutely. Oh yeah, I feel like this plushie now is more representative of Super Dark Deception because it's kind of like the same chibi portions. So I feel like I just want to call that the Super Dark Deception plushie for Doug. I think that's what I like about Super Dark Deception. I get to draw like little pixel chibi versions of all the Dark Deception characters. It's fun. Shark Fan 2 threw in 5 more pounds. Thank you again. Have the chef monkeys ever been introduced to Hangry's barbecue rib sauce, and would they approve of it? That is an interesting question. I feel like I need to write this into the lore now. What if they have like a Iron Chef cook-off in the monkey's kitchen, and the monkeys are trying to force their bananas onto Hangry, and Hangry's trying to force his barbecue sauce and ribs onto them? Maybe they should all have a picnic in the credits. Don't put weird ideas in my head. I may, in a delusion, one night while I'm up too late with coffee, slip them into the game. Jacko Trap threw another 2. We're almost there. What are you talking about? We're way past it. It's like 3:23 here. It's almost like 3:30 a.m. now. I'm amazed I'm still talking. So, yeah, this is officially the longest Q&A I've ever done. Thank you all. Take a moment. Let's all kind of pat ourselves on the back. I have to get up very early for an appointment tomorrow, too, so that just makes this even sweeter. Shark Fan threw in another 2. Or, sorry, another 5 pounds. Thank you. I'm going to take a shot at Level 9's name. It's called Xmas with an X. Extermination. I haven't seen alliterating X yet in a level name. That's actually a good observation there, is that I try, well, obviously we left monkey business the same just as to honor monkey business because it's the level that carried Dark Deception for years. We didn't want to change it. We just left that intact, even though it kind of breaks the design of making every level an alliteration. But I tried never to reuse the same letter for a level. So if you go through all the levels, they're all alliterating a different letter. We don't reuse the same one twice. So it's very easy to make like 2 levels using M, but I will purposely avoid that. So yours sounds not bad. X-Mix Extermination, that could actually fit. Jacko Trap threw another 2. We will get to at least 2 hours and 16 minutes, please. No, we're ending it now. Pyro Shark threw in 2. No sleep for you. That's right. Shark Fan threw in 10 pounds. Thank you again. I've lost track. I feel like you've donated 10 times. Maybe Hangry and the Monkeys could have a picnic with the Trigger Teddies. Oh, stop it. You're almost writing this for me. Shosho Dupers threw in $5. Oakwood is a highly popular indie dinosaur horror about an abandoned campsite full of dinosaurs. It's really popular with the Gaming Beaver and others. Well, now I have to check it out, especially if it's a horror and it's gory. Is it gory? I'll find out. But thank you for your 5. I appreciate it. Pyro Shark, you just had to throw in another one. I was at the end. 2 from Pyro Shark, multiple. Good night, sweet prince. Yes, that's a good way to end it. The prince does need to go pass out on the floor somewhere. I'll see you all next time. Thank you for making this the longest Q&A ever. I don't mind. It's fine. But I do need some sleep, or I'm not going to be able to work on Chapter 5 tomorrow, and I will delay the game. So thank you all for joining me and checking this out and asking such awesome questions. It's fun to answer better questions. And I'll see you all next time in episode 23, which may be next month, or, Christmas is next month. Maybe it'll be January, I don't know. I'll try to do it next month. Actually, I have to do a Christmas special because we did one last year. Speaking of which, I'll be doing another fan appreciation video for the holidays, for Christmas. So, if you want to record and send in a message for the Dark Deception community for the holidays to wish everyone Merry Christmas and say something you like about Dark Deception or Monsters Immortals or Super Dark Deception, record yourself. Keep the message under 15, or I'd say 20. Yeah, let's do less than 15 seconds. Keep it short and sweet, like a TikTok video. And send it to contact@glowstickentertainment.com, and you may make it into the video. So, have a good night, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Good night. Or good day.